Hello, kind souls. I'm Bianca Rodriguez, licensed marriage and family therapist and spiritual teacher. Today, we are talking about how do you make spiritually aligned choices that foster self-love. In part one of this series, we talked about self-love being the commitments we are willing to make and keep. What are the commitments that you've made to yourself, and do you keep them? In part two, we talked all about learning to love the unlovable parts of yourself. That is so important in being able to listen to your intuition, because when you love all parts of yourself, you are now in a state of wholeness. And in a state of wholeness, it's easier to get quiet and listen to your intuition, which is your truth and connected to the divine wisdom of the universe. Now, how do we know what spiritually aligned actions are? We got to get in touch with our intuition. Now, we have intuition and we have instinct. So instinct is often fight, flight, or freeze. So it's not that. That's usually a very, very powerful feeling. It's not our brain, which is where the ego is centered, which is usually the voice we're listening to that's usually kind of talking a mile a minute. Intuition can be called a gut feeling, and it's that calm, still voice. That very, very quiet voice that just tells you exactly what you need to hear. It's really hard to learn to listen to your intuition because we're not really taught in our culture to listen to our intuition, but it is such a powerful, powerful tool to honoring yourself and making commitments that are in alignment with your truth. So, as always, you know I like to give you exercises that you can actually practice, and this is an exercise to help you get in touch with your intuition. Now, if you ever experience synchronicities, which is like an event that is very meaningful but you didn't plan it, it's a coincidence, it's serendipity, that's usually because you were listening to your intuition. So let's say you're walking down the street and you're not even in the mood for coffee, but you're like, I think I'm just gonna go into that coffee shop. And boom, you meet somebody, an old friend, maybe somebody that's having a hard time, really needs to talk to someone. You're able to be of service to them. That's synchronicity, and that means that you are tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to your intuition and plugged in to the divine wisdom of the universe. So here's an exercise to help you get in touch with your intuition, and it's based on kinesiology. A friend of mine taught me this, and I've been using it for the past few months, been teaching it to clients, and it is so powerful. What you're going to do is you're going to stand with your feet in a V. First position for those dancers out there, not so much so that you're strenuous, but a light V, knees bent, knees kind of natural. And I usually recommend that you put your hands out in front of you, sort of below the belly button, very relaxed. And you close your eyes. You want to do this in a place where it's quiet, where you're going to be alone. And I want you to think about a question that you have, a yes or no question about maybe a relationship or a trip. And a lot of the time, it's easier to start with kind of the easier questions. So maybe even things that you know the answer to, right? If you know that you don't respond well to dairy or to sugar or to a certain type of food, you can just start with that by thinking about that particular type of food. And you want to close your eyes, and it always helps to take a few deep breaths in order to just connect to your body. And I want you to perhaps think about that food, or if you want to try a situation, and your body will naturally start to tilt forward or start to tilt backwards. The more you practice this, the more tuned you'll get. If your body tilts forward, that's a yes. If your body tilts back, that means a no. That's a way to use the wisdom of your body to get in touch with your intuition. Now, the next piece of it is not only are you going to listen to your intuition, but you're going to make the decision that's in alignment with your intuition. Now, if that feels like a scary decision, I want to talk to you a little bit about fear and a wonderful metaphor that you can use to have a better relationship with fear and not let it run your life. I like to think about fear as like a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old kid, you're not going to stick fear in the front seat of the car and give them the keys, but you're also not going to take fear and lock them in the trunk either, right? How can you allow fear to come along on the ride of your life and not take over? You got to sit fear in the back seat. You got to give fear some snacks. Fear doesn't get to pick the snacks, and fear does not get to drive the car or choose the route. But fear can be there with you, and think about speaking to your fear the way that you would speak to a child that you really care about, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old. Give it a voice. Allow it to say, oh my gosh, my intuition is saying that, I should, bring up this difficult thing to my boss, or maybe ask for a raise, or, change my schedule, and I'm so afraid. Let your fear talk about it. Say, fear, what's going on? Come sit over here. Oh my gosh, you're so afraid this could go wrong, that could go wrong, right? But what would a loving parent say to a kid? It's gonna be okay. I got you. It's gonna be okay. I got you. The more you practice having that kind of a relationship with your fear and taking spiritually aligned action, you will get better at it. It will get easier, and you'll start to see that your life is looking more and more like the life that you dreamed of. It has been such a pleasure to spend the last 3 weeks with you talking about self-love. Please try these exercises here. I am so grateful to have this opportunity to share this information with you. And please know that you are so worthy and you are so lovable exactly as you are.